What's up? I know what you're thinking right now. Where the heck is Abel? Where is your right hand man? And why are you not on the Noe and Abel channel? All things in good time. So the reason I'm doing this solo is just because this is my personal channel. This is gonna be my channel where I upload things. Which just maybe it's just me and you talking. Maybe it's just it's my outlet to just express myself in my own form without being with Abel. That doesn't mean that me and Abel are going to stop making content together, but far from it. Actually, we have a lot of stuff in the pipeline coming in, but this is going to be more like my discussion channel, my opinion place where we'll have a conversation, and at the end of every video I'm gonna leave the opportunity for you guys to talk to me down in the comments below. And I think right now is a good time to just start on the video apparently a lot of people like nowadays, Star Wars. Now, I think it's very interesting to see the rise of popularity of Star Wars, how it's something that a lot more people are starting to finally get into and understand, which is very interesting because there's 9 movies just episodically, not counting the TV shows, and on top of that the 2 spin-offs, Rogue One and Solo. It's very interesting, and it's great honestly to see so many people find enjoyment in these space operas, basically these movies that personally I love, and it's great to see. But I wanted to talk about one thing in particular, and it's been on my mind for a while. Specifically, it's been this Disney Renaissance we've been seeing, kind of Disney Star Wars Renaissance, to be specific. And it's, to me, I cap it off right after Episode 9. The Renaissance kind of starts with The Mandalorian. All right, now, in order for a Renaissance to begin, obviously there has to be a Dark Age. Why? You're probably thinking, Noe, where on earth is this Dark Age? What was so bad, right? What was so bad that there needed to be a Renaissance? And my comments to you are, the Dark Ages started, you can argue, when The Last Jedi came out. The Last Jedi was possibly the most divisive movie within the fan base since the prequels. The prequels were a very divisive time because people were like, is this garbage? Is it not garbage? I don't know, man. It is what it is, Like, I personally, granted this is coming from my early 2000s view, I enjoyed the prequels. Specifically the first and the third one. Every Star Wars fans obviously come to consensus that Attack of the Clones is the worst, and I agree with that. Attack of the Clones is a hot pile of garbage. It is a hot mess. But The Phantom Menace, for its flaws, was still a very enjoyable movie. Was it way too long? Yes. Was Jar Jar Binks an annoying character? Yes. Was the CGI not up to par with some of the stuff we would see around that same time period? Yes. But it was still enjoyable, and it was a good Star Wars movie. Not the best, obviously, but it was enjoyable. Revenge of the Sith is by far my favorite. Obviously, there was some bad acting choices. There was some terrible acting, but it was still very, very enjoyable. It was an enjoyable movie. And then we get to this new era, the sequel trilogy, you can call it, which is actually the fan name for it. It's the sequel trilogy, and it starts off with The Force Awakens. Now, a lot of the fan base, one side of the fan base says this is just a carbon copy of A New Hope. I'm not here to argue if it's a carbon copy of A New Hope or if it's not. That again is up to interpretation. But was it a good Star Wars movie? Now, pause for a second and think to yourself, did you personally enjoy The Force Awakens? If you said yes right away in your mind, for the most part, you agree with everyone else. The Force Awakens was an enjoyable movie. Was it the best Star Wars movie? No. It was, obviously, it had a lot of its flaws. And, J.J. Abrams, to me, he's never been an impressive director. specifically when it comes to working on projects that have already been established. To me, his kind of thing is, I'm gonna do all these callbacks, things like that. It's gonna be cute. There's gonna be all this nostalgia, and it gets stale after a while. But for the most part, people were excited to see where this new trilogy would go, and there was a lot of questions. Right, there was a lot of questions after this movie. Who's Snoke? Who is Rey's parents? And for a while, during the gap between Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, we saw all these Star Wars theories comes out. Channels rose and, talked nothing but these theories on who Rey is and how they think that there's evidence in the posters and the actor comments and things like that. People had thought, oh, it's going to be Kenobi. She's going to be related to Anakin somehow. Mace Windu, maybe she's related to Satine in some way. And all these theories came out from left, right, and it kind of was not answered in The Last Jedi. Well, they did give it an answer. They just said, who cares? Now, as far as The Last Jedi is concerned, even personally, I find it I'm personally pretty divided by it, specifically because on one hand, there's a lot of flaws, like the whole Finn and Rose plot that went absolutely nowhere. Like, was there a need to go to that casino planet and just come back with absolutely nothing? No. But at the same time, I see what they were trying to go, what the director was trying to do. He was trying too hard to copy the magic of Empire Strikes Back with this large twist ending, right? When we look at the Empire Strikes Back, right, there's the twist ending of, oh my God, Darth Vader is Luke's father and Han Solo is in Kryptonite. Where on earth is this going to go from here, right? And I felt like Rian Johnson, the director of The Last Jedi, was trying to do that same kind of magic and do that twist where it's like, oh my gosh, Rey's parents are nobody, and Snoke is dead. Where does it go from here? But the problem is that with the original trilogy, your main characters weren't the villain and the protagonist. No, your main characters were all protagonists, right? There was Han Solo, it was Leia, it was Luke. Those were your three main characters, right? Your crew, right? And don't get me wrong, Darth Vader is pretty close to protagonist, but he was not one of the main characters, right? He at the end of the day, there wasn't that much information on Darth Vader in the original trilogy, So, and you kept him alive. You kept all of those protagonists alive within those three movies because that was the main focus. But in the sequel trilogy, your main focus, specifically in The Last Jedi, was on Kylo Ren. When in reality, people were mainly focused on these new characters. Well, granted, Kylo Ren is a new character, but people were focused mainly on these interesting new characters such as Snoke and Rey, and the mystery behind specifically those two characters. Because it felt like with The Force Awakens, right? Kylo Ren's origin was kind of already talked about. It's like, oh, he's a Solo. He's related to the Skywalkers, and that makes sense, right? And the audience, me included, was like, okay, that's fine, yeah. So we didn't have much interest going into Kylo Ren, into the second movie, and The Last Jedi, we were more focused on Snoke and Rey, for there to be no delivery, and I personally felt that there was nowhere to go after that. The rebels escape, and Kylo Ren is now in charge of the First Order. It felt like the end of the trilogy, or not even the trilogy. It felt like the end of that saga, of those two. And then I personally feel that whoever was set to direct Episode 9 didn't know about what Rian Johnson did in The Last Jedi until it was all wrapped up, and he was like, wait, what did you do? And they just couldn't do anything. And then that just led to this bloody mess of an episode 9. You know, the original director, he left for creative differences, and then they decided, okay, we're gonna have J.J. Abrams come back, and he's gonna do this last movie to kind of wrap it all up. And it felt like episode 9 felt like someone chopped up the last 2 movies and really tried hard to Frankenstein it all together. The pacing was off. The plot was going everywhere. There was a lot of loose ends. And people were very dissatisfied with the ending of the sequel trilogy. People were very, underwhelmed with the conclusion. This is the conclusion of the Skywalker saga, right? The compilation of 9 movies. You would think it would be something grander. For it to not be. That was the thing. It wasn't, there was no magic in it. It felt like it needed to happen, and it just felt like you can feel the director's frustration in this movie, because he tried so hard to wrap things up, tie all these loose ends, for it to just not work. And hey, okay, turn off the fan there. I don't know why I just decided to do that halfway through this video. You're gonna see this because I'm not gonna edit that much, because this is unfiltered. This is raw, just me and you guys talking. This is us here, me with my weird mic, that is here. And yeah, that was the start of the Dark Ages. The Dark Ages started during the Last Jedi, and going on into the Rise of Skywalker. And that's when we started seeing this new thing, which was Star Wars fatigue. And I will say it was warranted. There was a lot of movies pumped out during a, 5-6 year span. I mean, for crying out loud, we had a whole trilogy. I was 3 movies, plus 2 kind of side quests, you can say, spin-offs. We had Rogue One and we had Solo. One really good, one that was completely unnecessary, and to me kind of ruined the magic of the original character. But that's just me, my personal opinion. There's people out there who like Solo. Now, here on this channel, we call those people weirdos and people that you shouldn't personally trust. But that's, hey, if you like it, that's your thing. I'm kidding, okay? Calm down. But anyways, that's not neither here nor there. We were entering this dark age. But then out of nowhere, Star Wars media, started rising again. We got word of a show called The Mandalorian, and it was, directed by this big 3 of Jon Favreau, Taika Waititi, and his name slipped my mind, Dave Filoni. Right, so that huge big 3 right there. So everyone was hyped, but at the same time, everyone was cautious, because the last time we got hyped, we got 2 movies that were just very underwhelming, and we were cautiously going into The Mandalorian, and then we learned more stuff about it. They were going for a different time period, going for that time period in between the Force Awakens and the Return of the Jedi, which was not explored until that moment in this new Disney canon. And it was really interesting to see. And personally, I was all into it. I liked the idea of exploring this time period because we hadn't seen anything yet. And the first season comes around, and guys, it was probably, it was the best Star Wars show that I have seen. And this was the first time that they did a live action Star Wars show. Up until this point, it was all animated, and this was really good. This was a good return to formula. There was mystery behind this character. Who was the Mandalorian? Great, just space adventures that happened. And it was an amazing show. And of course, the creation of the biggest cutest meme, Baby Yoda, or Grogu as Disney wants me to call him, but it was a good return to formula. And then we got word that there was going to be a final last season of Star Wars: The Clone Wars. And this, unlike the Netflix lost episodes, this was going to be a final season, a final wrap up. And the hype at this point was real because we just got off that Mandalorian season 1 high, and for the most part, actually the whole thing delivered on it being the last season. The animation quality, obviously there was this huge span of time in between the previous season and this last one, but the animation quality did not skip a beat. It was amazing, high definition animation, and it was so well written. There was so much emotion, and you could feel the energy. You can feel it all, right? It was by far an amazing conclusion to something that, for a lot of us, we grew up watching Star Wars: The Clone Wars. You know, I remember every Friday being excited to go on to Cartoon Network and watching it. And I grew even more excited when it was on Netflix and they released the lost episodes. And seeing the conclusion of that, seeing where every character is now, even though I kind of knew, we all knew it was going to end at episode 3. We all knew it was going to end off with Order 66 being executed and things like that. But even though we all knew, they still took the time to create that emotion that and really put us into the places of Ahsoka. And I thought it was a great direction to put everything through Ahsoka's point of view, because really that was when you think about it, Ahsoka was the main character of Star Wars: The Clone Wars. You know, and I'm really great that they saw that. You know, that we saw everything through Ahsoka's lens throughout the whole series. And the last season being almost completely about Ahsoka was a good idea. And then that brings us obviously to the second season of The Mandalorian, which was amazing. Again, they did not skip a beat. It was the same formula and the same magic worked. And then we got a new show recently called with The Bad Batch, which is based on the Clone Wars, off of it's kind of a spin-off of the Clone Wars, with this crew of defective clones. And I will say it was pretty good. It's still going on. If I as of recording this, it's still going on. And I love to see how they're taking time, really having us with these characters kind of going on these side missions. Even though they're still soldiers, they become bounty hunters in some way. And it's great to see. Now, I will say that kid character, I'm forgetting her name right now, but you can correct me in the comments, call me an idiot, do all that. By all means, do that. Call me a casual, please. But anyways, she can be a little annoying from time to time. But for the most part, this show does a really good job of establishing Star Wars history at that moment, you know? Showing us how the Empire formed out of the Republic. And that was another thing that wasn't really explored that much by Disney. And now that kind of leads me to this final piece. How did this kind of renaissance happen? How is it that Star Wars media under Disney went through such a dark age, but at the same time rose back up? And I gotta say, it's the big three, guys. It's Dave Filoni, it's Jon Favreau, and Taika Waititi. I mean, you got three guys who are all three amazing directors and producers, right? Taika Waititi right now is murdering it with both his films and his acting. Jon Favreau has always been an amazing director, you know, and putting the three of them together, not only as directors and producers, but as fellow fans. You know, you can tell that there's a lot of passion being put into these movies now, whereas before it kind of felt kind of overproduced, you know? It felt corporate-y. And I know that that's a new word, that's a made-up word. Yeah. Sorry about that one. Camera kind of died. So, like, Anyways, I was talking about how it felt corporate-y, and to me it felt like Disney was very reactive to the whole Last Jedi situation. So they tried their hardest to kind of please everyone at the same time. They tried to please the people who really liked The Last Jedi, and at the same time tried to please all those people who were very Star Wars puristy, and it it was a mess. It was a mess of a movie. But then Disney got the right idea. They decided, instead of letting themselves watch over Star Wars, and try to make it Marvel in a way, they decided, let's get these people, these competent directors and producers, and these people with passion about Star Wars, and let them take control of it. And I think that's something really awesome. And it kind of makes stuff like The Mandalorian feel like a fan film. It makes it feel like there's more passion in these projects. You can feel that these people who are working on them genuinely love what they're doing. Just like how when we made our little Lego Star Wars parodies back when we were kids, when we were playing outside with our lightsabers and stuff, we it feels like that. There's that same energy. But I mean, that's just my opinion on it. I want to know what you guys think. Let me know down in the comments below if you feel the same way, or if maybe you don't like Star Wars. Maybe you want to see more different things. I have a couple of things in the pipeline. I think my next video is going to be on why it is that we hate Nickelback so much. So if you're into music and you remember how big of a meme it was to hate on Nickelback, stay tuned. Give me a like and a subscribe. If you don't know already, I'm have a podcast with my friend Abel. There's only 3 episodes out, so if you want to check that out, man. I have no control over you. Like the video if you want to like the video. Subscribe if you want to. I don't know. I'm not your mom or a cop, so do what you want with that. If you want to hit the dislike, go for it. That's up to you. Anyways, so hope you guys liked this and keep on enjoying life. That was a stupid way to end this.